Okay, cost of debt. Interest rate required on new debt is also the yield to maturity on outstanding debt. So then we have to adjust for the tax deductibility of interest expense. So we'll take the yield to maturity and multiply it by 1 minus the tax rate. One note: the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 reduced corporate tax rates to a flat 21%. So that prior to that, the corporate tax rates could be as high as 44%, I believe, so depending on the situation. But anyway, this this new, relatively new flat tax rate could reduce the attractiveness of debt, but it's still going to be more attractive than equity because it's the overall cost, the pre-tax cost of debt is less than the pre-tax cost of equity for just about all firms, as far as I know. Cost of preferred stock. Preferred stock is a perpetuity, so its price is equal to the coupon paid divided by the current required return. So we can rearranging the cost of preferred stock, or RP, is the just the dividend divided by the current price. So weighted average cost of capital. So the weighted average cost of capital is given by the weight in equity. So this is the weight in equity plus the required rate of return on equity plus the weight in debt multiplied by the yield to maturity on the debt multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate. If we had preferred stock in here, we would add the value of the preferred stock in and the weight multiplied by the required rate of return. So we'd have 3 entries instead of 2 here. So, but the math doesn't change. So the weighted average cost of capital, in this case, the value of stocks divided by the value of stocks plus the value of bonds multiplied by the required rate of return on stocks plus the value of bonds divided by the value of stocks plus the value of bonds, or this calculates the weight in bonds, the weight in stocks over here. We multiply that by the required rate of return on bonds, or the yield to maturity on the company's debt. So that, and then we multiply that this portion gives us the pre-tax cost of debt. Then we multiply it by 1 minus the tax rate to give us the after-tax cost of debt. So this is because interest expense is tax deductible. We multiply that term by 1 minus the tax rate, or the corporate tax rate. So firm valuation. The value of the firm is the present value of future expected distributable cash flow discounted at the weighted average cost of capital. To find the equity value, we subtract the value of debt from the value of the firm. So example here, we've got International Paper. So first we estimate the cost of equity and the cost of debt. So we estimated an equity beta and the cost of equity. You can estimate the cost of debt by observing the yield to maturity on the firm's debt. Second, we can determine the weighted average cost of capital by weighting these two costs appropriately based on the values of the two components. So the International Paper, the industry has an average beta of 0.82. The risk-free rate is 2%. The market risk premium is 7%. So the cost of equity capital is using the CAPM. The risk-free rate, 2%, plus the beta multiplied by the market risk premium, which gives us a cost of equity capital of 7.74%. The yield on the company's debt is 5%. And the firm has a 21% marginal tax rate. So the debt to value ratio is 32%. I would also call this the debt ratio. So remember our formula? So we have our weight in stocks, multiplied by the required rate of return on stocks, plus the weight in bonds, multiplied by the yield to maturity on the company's debt, multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate. So they give us the 32% here. So the weight in stocks has got to be 1 minus the 30.32, or 6.68. Recall that the required rate of return on stocks was 7.74%, plus the weight in bonds multiplied by the yield to maturity of 5%. And that, again, this would give us the pre-tax. This is the pre-tax cost of debt. To get the after-tax, we multiply by 1 minus the tax rate, 21%. Gives us a weighted average cost of capital of 6.53%. So International Paper's cost of capital, our weighted average cost of capital is 6.53%. It should be used any project where you believe that the project risk is equal to the risk of the firm as a whole. The project has the same leverage as the firm as a whole as well. All right, so let's stop there and we'll start. We'll do flotation costs and the quick quiz.